The book I read was Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Separates. This book is historical realistic fiction and it is based off a historic event, which was the Holocaust. But the realistic fiction part of this book is the family and the characters and some of the events that they went through might have not actually happened. That's just Ruta's general idea of what she thought that a family could have went through during the Holocaust. It's actually, the author of this book is actually really interesting because she is a Lithuanian writer, and the front of this book, the beginning of it, was actually based in Lithuania. And so you can really tell that she gives her own experiences and her own thoughts about Lithuania and their Lithuanian ways. And she mainly specializes in historical fiction and historical realistic fiction. This book took me a while to get through. It took me like almost half the beginning of the year, only because it's historical fiction and I don't really read a lot of historical things. But like once you get past that mind block of, oh, it's an historical like book, and you really just think of like the characters and what they're going through, it's actually really easy to blow right through because you get like a taste of what would have been happening in that time and like some ideas of what a family might have been going through. My second favorite book that I've read this year is Speak, and they both tie to each other really well. They're both about the Holocaust, and they're both about like the traumatic events that people in the Holocaust and families went through. The only really like major difference there's a couple major differences that I figured throughout both of the books was this one obviously is a long chapter book, and the Speak is made up of a bunch of little books, so it's a lot easier to read for me because I don't get bored with one story. It's just like a chapter long for each story, and they're really like jam-packed with like twists and turns, and like you never know what's gonna happen really. And the other difference is that a lot of the stories in Speak actually have endings, and you actually get to like see how they live after the Holocaust, which in this one you don't. It really leaves you on a cliffhanger. So if you like that, then this is a good book to read, but if you don't, this has a really major cliffhanger, so don't get your hopes up. And so in the beginning of this book, they are just basically like a normal family. They talk like a normal family would, and then the NKVD comes into their house, steals a lot of their stuff, takes their dad, and then their dad is taken on a long trail to Siberia, which is where they all end up in Siberia. But their mother, Lena, and Lena's brother is taken a little bit after, but they all end up at the same place. But the hard thing is for Lena is she doesn't ever get to speak to her father because they were really close, and they just got in a little argument before they got taken away, or before he got taken away. So it's really hard for her to not talk to him. But if she does talk to him, she knows there'll be consequences for both of them. So she's really conscientious of what she does in terms of talking to him, or like even if you make hand gestures or anything, like they give you no slack. And along the way, they meet a guy that they believe was Lithuanian, so they trusted him. And it turns out that he was actually working for the NKVD. So they turn him in after he turns them in after they were already getting ready to escape. So that shows that you really cannot trust anyone.